Excuse me, sir. Am I talking to Mr. Rodolfo Martinez, 155 Terra Linda?
Who want to know?
The name's Browning, sir. A.D. Browning from the Acme Adjustment Agency. We've been hired by Friendly Freddy's Used Cars of San Remo. They've asked us to repossess, let me see here, blue 71 Camaro sedan, license number 152 TFL. Is that it, parked over there?
Repossess? I don't understand.
The payments apparently weren't kept up, Mr. Martinez. So Friendly Freddy's, where you bought the car, remember? Sent us over here to repossess it. Take it back, you see, according to the terms of the contract.
But that's a lie.
We don't know, of course, whether Senior Martinez ever really read the contract. Was it translated? Was it approved by somebody familiar with car sales? We should never sign something, of course, without reading it all the way through, including the fine print, the often booby-trap parts which some salesmen count on for us not to read, since if we did, we'd see what we were really getting into.
No, don't give it to him. Deme las llaves. We already pay $600 down payment, plus $90 each month. Plus $100 extra to fix brakes. We almost get killed last month because our brakes don't work downhill. But when we call, they tell us it is our fault. We have to pay for fixing brakes. What do you think? This is justo? Fair?
She was asking whether it's fair, but a business transaction is really not meant to be an exercise in fair play. It's just a bargain for exchange of goods or services for money according to the rules of the game. In this case, the rules either promised the seller would fix the brakes if they failed or not. But the language of a sales contract, drawn up by a seller, of course, tends to favor the seller. The language is often purposely vague. You may claim, for instance, that your care of an item has been prudent, responsible, but the seller can claim you've been careless. The burden of proof, difficult to prove at times, falls right on you.
But we send money to wrong place. I just explained it. Hey, what are you trying to do? What's the matter?
He claims he sent money to the wrong place, but he can be making an honest statement or he can be lying. We can't be sure. But if he sent it in cash, there'd be no record of it. And this dishonest seller could keep the money and claim it never arrived and claim the car back. That's why we should always send money by check or money order and request a return receipt as a record.
As soon as things are settled, come over and pick it up.
Run over? Sure. That's what they tell my good friend Juana. Just pick it up. But when
She's going to start telling a lot of woes about car repossession racket here, but we ought to ask, why do people think they need cars so much? There's such trouble and expense. It must be something more than transportation. Cars seem to give us a sense of power, mobility, freedom. Press a foot down and zoom, king of the road. Also privacy. Outside of the bathroom, being in a car is sometimes the only chance we get nowadays, I think, to be alone all day. As for credit, it has its good points and its bad points, so we ought to keep pointing out that getting used to charging things tends to keep us from learning the habit of thrift, saving money. And it turns us into victims of advertisers whose aim is to make us discontent if we can't have whatever it is they're selling right now, even though we may not really need it or want it, and have to pay twice as much for it in the end.
What's that you're telling me, my friend? You can't afford a trading this year? Running into financing problems? Getting a little discouraged? Well, cheer up, old buddy. We got good news.
Notice that this puppet pitchman right away identifies with us, the buyers. We're discouraged, we're wasting gas. At the same time, he appeals to everyone's appetite for a bargain.
Just come on over and talk to Friendly Freddy. Be surprised how quick and easy Freddy can make it through to drive away in a safe, sane car at a safe, sane price.
A safe, sane car at a safe, sane price. You see, we all have an appetite for a bargain, but his main task is to prevent us from thinking very much about what he's really saying. A cash rebate of a sticker price doesn't mean much if the sticker price is too high to begin with. Notice he does all this by keeping us amazed, entertained with tricks and stunts. Words pop up, there are funny sound effects, an imaginary boss hides in his shack, and so on. This is supposed to work on our reverse stereotype because a car dealer who is too shy to show himself automatically has to be more honest and trustworthy than the usual loudmouth, fast-talking one, right? And in order to strengthen the illusion of frankness and candor, he even goes so far as to stage a fake argument with the boss. Now, even though one part of us knows that all this argument is just staged, a fake, a trick, like the secret miracle ingredients in toothpastes, deodorants, and cleansers. At a deeper level, another part of us records it, stores it away in images, and later on it's apt to pop up when we've forgotten this ad altogether. So even though we scorn the ad, we may buy the item. We may be secretly persuaded, as the phrase goes.
We'll lose our shirts. Well, you saw, folks. Man seems ready to part with the very shirt off his back just to prove he's your friend. You say it's a crazy way to do business? You ought to be locked up. Listen, between you and...
Here we're going to be invited to take advantage of a car dealer who doesn't seem to be entirely in control of his senses as part of the conspiracy. At the same time, we're offered a chance to get back at all the other salesmen in our past who've taken advantage of us. I mean our greed, our ignorance, our stupidity, our impatience. So our counted upon resentment at being sold things we don't really want, and everyone has it, is here used as a deliberate stratagem against us.
Ay, are mentiras. We find out pretty quick, all lies, you know. And Friendly Freddy, that's a she, not a he. With a voice like, how you say, a train wreck?
What's the matter with you, mister? We can't keep making these long-distance calls.
Notice she begins to talk about Senior Martinez right away in a way designed to put down his character. He's ungrateful, he's irresponsible, and so on. She preempts or avoids any discussion of her own obligations or responsibilities. If the brakes fail, it has to be the customer's fault. No other way. She even refuses to consider the possibility that she might be at fault, that she might have to honor a contract.
I don't know what you must have been doing to burn them up like that after only 2 or 3 months. What are we supposed to do? Pay for your lousy driving habits?
This question is phrased in such a way as to deliberately falsify the matter. It's not whether she should pay for his lousy driving habits, but whether or not the brakes failed because they were inadequate brakes, because they weren't good enough brakes to start.
I think it's a picnic being in this line of work. I mean, cars smuggled across the border and whammo, recycled into the black market, goodbye and good luck. Or customers disappearing.
This litany of grievances probably has a lot of basis. In fact, she's probably gone through a lot of unfortunate experiences, but then we ought to ask why. What are the hidden reasons, the structural reasons behind the victim, the customer and the seller victimizing each other? And there's a hidden message here which goes like this. Dealing with you Mexicans is aggravating anyway because your behaviors have to be unreliable, tricky, devious, just plain inept when it comes to handling cars. So anything really is fair in trying to cope with you. Hence this self-serving justification for such a bad faith racket as a car repossession deal that she's running here.
Sure, we could always sell, but without a car, we maybe lose work now and then. And without work, very hard to keep up rent payments. Only when you can't pay, sometimes you've got no place to sleep, except the car. So, Guadalupe, cálmate.
Guadalupe, váyate. Shh, Paz, cálmate. Okay, mister, no problem. The reason Guadalupe get mad at you, you see, you disturb her siesta. She always liked to take her siesta in the back seat. Please, senor, if you can just wait till we get the money up there.
Look, I'm sorry, Mr. Martinez, but we happen to be obligated to pick up the vehicle today. I mean, that's what they hired us for. Of course, if you'd rather talk to the police...
No. No police.
This threat is pure bluff, but it's bluff based on knowledge of the automatic fear, anxiety that the word police can inspire in people whose standing may not be all that secure anyway. One is to get a court order to involve the police, which is a costly process, a cumbersome process. But the Martinezes don't know that. If they simply refused to give their car over, just stood in the way, the man probably would have backed off. The sad moral here is that sometimes to protect your rights, your legal rights, to get what you deserve, you have to be willing to provoke a public scene, something not everybody has the courage or the character to be able to do.